Hey everybody, Douglas Blair Roberts here, the Super Beta 400, the brown skin humor. Come back at you with a new type of video intro. And this is another tribute, praise, salute, and approval video intro of awesome YouTubers, content creators, and just awesome people in quote-unquote general. Yeah, this is vastly similar to my tribute to the deceased people, but I decided to do a whole nother one for YouTubers and content creators and other awesome people who are of course still alive and in my opinion doing great things. And the very first one on this list, which the link will be in the description box below, and the larger video will follow this one, and that is my salute and praise of predator poachers and CC units. Yeah, these are quote unquote, as you heard from the titles, these are movements and groups of peoples in YouTube channels, YouTube and social media channels dedicated to exposing pedophiles, child diddlers, predators, and getting them out and doing everything in their power to get them off the street, whether it's getting them to admit to their wrong and promise and embarrassing and humiliating them and traumatizing them so they'll never do it again, or if the person, he or she, mostly he, is uncooperative, they can just call the police. They can get their license numbers. They can just call the police and let the police take them and get them off the street, which is usually how most of their episodes end. It rarely ever ends the first way, with the person admitting he or she, mostly he was wrong. The very first one, which will actually be part of my Doug talks and rants, political stuff, political and current event stuff, current and past event stuff. My first one, the one that got me into this, was the popular YouTuber EDP445 being exposed as a pedophile, as he was, quote, as the memes say, he was caught in 4K trying to meet up with a little girl for sex, which he hilariously claimed, which is now a meme, that he tried to meet her for a cupcake. But yeah, this got me. While it was handled poorly, because EDP445 is still free and not in jail, I love what they did. I love the interrogation and how they straight up owned, exposed, and humiliated him live on TV. I would never condone public humiliation and bullying like that, but if you're a pedophile and a child diddler and a creep with no sympathy, you deserve it, man. You deserve it. I wish they would have finished it, and wish they would have called the police and got him off the streets. He's still roaming free. Now he's banned from YouTube and other social media platforms, but he's on Instagram and TikTok, which angers me. But my full-length rant on him will be in the description box below. There'll also be a short narration on my Doug A798 channel for people like for people who want to see the for people who want to see the long version. For people who want to see the narration picture version. I'm not sure if I'll use EDP445's picture though. May just use a movie or video cartoon of mine. A picture of a movie, video game, or cartoon of mine. I don't know. But anyway, that's what this intro is. So with that being said, let's get started right now. Hey everyone, it's time for my long webcam version of once again, my salute and praise of quote unquote real life superheroes, real life superheroes, and the child predator and pedophile catchers, predator poachers, and CC units, yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is the long webcam version. To see the original short narration version on my main Dog 8798 channel, click in click the first link in the description box below. With that being said, let's get started right now. This is my praise of real life superheroes. Gonna give my history with both predator poachers, CC unit, and real life superheroes. For me, I decided to join both of these groups into one video because in my opinion, they're all the same. Not all heroes have a cool wear capes, tights, footwear, and costumes. Not all heroes wear what you call us. And the predator poachers and CC units, vigilante would be more of their style. Vigilante would be more of their style. Than actual heroes because they don't cooperate with law enforcement until the end. They don't cooperate on their stings. So, quote unquote, they will be more vigilantes. But I appreciate what all of these people do. Let's start off with predator poachers and CC unit. They're the same as the real life superheroes, only they don't have costumes. At least they have special outfits and accessories that you can identify with. The guy from PP Mass, Predator Poachers, which I think is an abbreviation for Predator Poachers, Massachusetts. This guy has eyeglasses. And by the way he talks, he appears to be Hispanic American, and he's usually wearing regular hip hop street attire, and he speaks in a similar form of slang mixed with a detective. Then you got the controversial and the infamous Alex Rosen, aka his username Chet Goldstein, the menacingly tall one guy. This guy, since they don't really make pants in his size, this guy is always seen in a t-shirt and trunks. This guy's always seen in a t-shirt, gym trunks, socks, and footwear. Footwear. He's a guy. He's a grown 20-something-year-old man, balding, who dresses like he's 12. I think that's pretty cool. And he's the most intimidating. In my opinion, he's the most badass and intimidating one. Then you got CC unit from another predator and child predator and pedophile catching group called the CC unit. He wears street clothes with a COVID mask covering the lower half of his face with only his signature curly hair. He appears to be Jewish. And what he lacks, he lacks the intimidating factor of the others. The intimidation factor of the others. He lacks the intimidating stature of the others, but he gets it done. He gets it done with his awesome interrogation skills. He doesn't have the hands like the others do. But he talks a good game and he's brave. I wouldn't have the balls to approach these these child predators and pedophiles like he does. He not only approaches them, he trash talks them, shames them, and embarrasses them. I wouldn't have the balls to do any of that. I have more confidence to do that now after being inspired by him. But yeah, I wouldn't have the balls to do something like that, man. Then you got what's the other dude's name? What's the other guy's name? Oh yeah. So yeah, and then they got a camera crew. I don't know their names. They got a camera crew. And and they come prepared on any quote unquote mission. I got interested in these guys, of course, after the controversial YouTube user, like I said in the narration version, EDP445 was finally exposed in April of 2021, just 1 year ago. Was finally exposed as being a pedophile, for being a quote unquote pedophile and child predator. Back in 2020, it was just allegations. And it was allegations. Finally, in 2021, the allegations became quote unquote true. And then I was not only inspired by it, I was angry because EDP445, he did what he did, but because what the predator poachers technically did was entrapment, he technically got away scot-free. And because he got away, he's smug now. Not only did he not come back and apologize, but he came back, refused to address what happened in 4K. He got caught in 4K. That's the meme. He got caught in 4K. He refused to address what happened. He refused to address. Then he came back, and after literally being caught crying on camera when the two were about to call the cops, he had the audacity to pull this internet tough guy and I can trash talk everyone, and he's still doing that crap today. He kept hopping the platform, comically getting suspended and banned from each platform. Now he's on Instagram and TikTok. Still doing videos like nothing quote unquote happened. So this thing introduced me to these guys, and I've watched their other episodes, which I watched their other episodes where they hunt down pedophiles, and like I said, I appreciate what these guys do because, like I said in the narration version, and in my previous salute of these guys, when it comes to cops, they can't be everywhere. Cops are mixed towards these predator people. Some like them, but others don't. But what those ones who don't like them have to understand is the cops. You can't be everywhere. You need vigilantes. You need individual groups like this that can go around and catch these people. For you, and I greatly appreciate what they do. Before I continue with the predator poachers and how they inspire me, now we're going to talk about the real life superheroes. Then you got the real life superheroes, man. I remember reading about these in 2007 and early 2008, which was junior and senior year of high school for me. And I remember thinking they were the coolest thing ever, and wanting to be them. I was already them, except I've just done good deeds here and there. I am an actor in a costume, a screenwriter, cartoonist, and a rock star, and a combat sports athlete and martial artist. These real life superheroes were out actually doing real work, and I wanted to be that, but it really wasn't profitable, and so as such I didn't read anything about it until a decade later. The last thing I read about the real life superheroes was a luchador chasing a streaker, a naked guy, off of a football field, who stripped naked, then jumped onto the field, and the guy heroically chased him quote unquote off. But I've been reading about then these real life predator poachers, these real life predator, child predator, and pedophile catchers got me interested in real life superheroes. So I decided to look that up again and revisit that, and man, it was one of the coolest thing ever. All the superheroes I saw, which the links to all of the, I don't remember all their names, but the links to all of these cool superheroes, the videos is from a channel called Top Her, their channel, and the videos from that channel will be in the description box. Will also be in the description box below of this quote unquote video. But man, it was the coolest. Each superhero, he or she had their own quote unquote quote unquote gimmick. In my opinion, the pro wrestler who is just known as superhero, and the Crimson Fist, who reminds me of One Punch Man. The superhero reminds me of those classic superheroes from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. The Crimson Fist reminds me of the One Punch Man. I liked all of them, but the Crimson Fist and the superhero were, in my opinion, the coolest. The most badass one on the list was the controversial Phoenix Jones, who this guy and his group, the Rain City Superhero Squad, they patrol New York City, they patrol Seattle, Washington, and we're literally, this guy was the only one, he's a trained MMA fighter and martial artist for the World Series of Fighting Combat organization. This guy was literally out, him and his friends were literally out fighting crime, busted, beating butt. Literally beating butt. He chased down a car thief. He beat up a guy in possession of a switchblade. He wore muscle tan 90s muscle tan battle armor with military pants and combat boots. Sometimes other footwear. Mostly the coolest one was the combat boots. Had a nightstick and various other weapons like mace, and I think he also possessed a gun too, and he had his own superhero group called the Rain City. Phoenix Jones was so violent, he was like a real life Batman, Deathstroke, Deadshot, Rorschach, Night Owl, and the Comedian from the quote unquote Watchmen, Watchmen, and he was so violent that his violent methods kind of led to the desolation and disbandment of his group, the Rain City Superheroes. They would all go their own separate ways. According to Wikipedia, Phoenix Jones, even though he hasn't been spotted since 2020, is still lists him as a superhero, but his group is no more. They disbanded, I think, in 2014 or 15. But this guy, when he was fighting crime, his crime has led into confrontations with the police, which led to him being arrested. And having his fursuit confiscated. He managed to pull out a spare. And his actions also led to someone, quote unquote, getting shot. And finally, his reign of heroism ended when he was caught and busted selling drugs, and this turned to people against him. The Wikipedia still lists him as a superhero, but I haven't heard anything about him since 2020 when he got busted for drugs. But yeah, he was the most badass one. The cops, of course, had a negative reception towards a negative to mixed reception, but mostly negative. I applaud what he was doing. Like I said, with the predator poachers and with the child predators and the pedophile catchers, you can't be everywhere at once. So this guy, quote unquote, what's his name? Now that I talked about the real life superheroes, I'm going to talk about how they inspire me. I have multiple job opportunities and careers I'm pursuing. My second and third favorite careers, which used to be number one, but they're not as exciting as they used to be, but they're necessary now because, well, when they're necessary now because I got to pay the bills when crime isn't fighting. But these are my number one new favorite careers. What I'm doing now, YouTube. I hope to one day do this, get paid to actually make videos. I was close, but then they changed it from 100 subscribers to 1,000, to quote unquote 1,000 subscribers, to 1,000 subscribers on both platforms that I'm on right now. That's YouTube and the other platform I'm on, Facebook. They changed it to 1,000. They changed it to 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 subscribers when it was 100. And right when I was close to 100, they changed it to 1,000. They changed it to 1,000. So yeah. But this job and my newest job, my newest favorite job, I want to be a predator. I want to be a child predator and pedophile catcher, like predator poachers and CC unit. I want to join the predator poachers unit here in my hometown. I want to join the predator poachers unit here. I'm gonna go to their website for more information on how to join. And through this job, through this career, I get to live out my dreams of being a crime fighter, real life street fighter, like in the video game Street Fighter. I don't have the muscle and the firepower. I don't have the muscle and firepower and the security and backup to deal with actual criminals, drug dealers, gangsters and thugs. I don't have the witch cause to deal with them, so I can't deal with them unless they come at me first. They come at me first. I can't deal with them. And if I ever am if I ever witness one of them doing something, I'm going to use my first superpower and my first superpower weapon that everyone possesses, and that's a phone. That's a cell phone, and straight up call 911 and let them handle it. I'm going to call 911 regardless. So if there's a situation where I can make a difference before 911 gets there, or it has to be me before 911 gets there, then I'll see what I can do. But until then, yeah. However, the child predators and pedophiles, I can beat them, especially if they're not armed. But just in case they're armed, I will be armed too. I possess multiple sticks. Then I'm gonna get mace, pepper spray, and then when I live alone, the favorites: firearms, guns, and guns. But hopefully, when I catch these predator poachers, as much as I do like a good fight, hopefully I can settle it. I can do like they do. Most of the predator poaching CC units rarely ever doesn't get physical. They're able to brutally intimidate the people into cooperating, or if the said child predator and pedophile doesn't cooperate. My favorite part: they shame and embarrass them, and they call the cops. They freaking call the cops on them. If they can't get them to cooperate. So hopefully that's how it goes with me. But the EDP 445 situation inspired me. Life just becoming dull and uninteresting as I got older also inspired me, and now I get to live out my quote-unquote comic books, which of course my screenwriter, cartoonist, movie producing, and acting and combat sports athlete. These are my second and third favorite. These used to be number one, but these are not as exciting as they used to be. But they're still more necessary now as a backup plan to pay my bills, so I don't ever have to resort to selling drugs like Phoenix, quote unquote, Phoenix Jones apparently had to. Yeah, his fights and his superhero business. Yeah, that wasn't enough. That didn't pay a lot. So he had to resort to becoming the thing he wanted to be, that he was fighting against, and that was a villain and a drug dealer. And he was caught, busted and arrested for selling drugs. So what else? What else about this? What else about Phoenix? What else about? So yeah. I have multiple costumes and multiple multiple costumes. I have a what I like to call a winter and fall rock and roll comic book based costume that allows me to blend in society and go and work a normal job. Then under that costume, a more exaggerated quote unquote costume with accessories to quote unquote dude, that would draw a lot of attention if I were to walk around. Oh, my winter and fall rock and roll comic book costume already draws enough attention, but at least this one I can blend in with society, and still, what's his name? Which that was a other issue that was affecting my real life superhero. I needed a regular costume to blend in with society, but now I can do this, so I can live out my quote unquote comics, and this along with my YouTube career, reviewing various things and talking about what's happening in the world are my two favorite things. These are the two favorite passions that get me out of bed every quote unquote every morning. So once again, the narration version will be in the description box below, and so will the Top Nerds YouTube channel and the two real life superheroes, so you can get a look at some of these real life superheroes and the documentary of the Phoenix Jones character, the rise and fall of him. That will be in the description box below. So with that being said, I'm finished for now. You don't want to hear the rest of the music? Turn the video off right now.
Together, we won't split up forever. It's easier with